All right, so Telus, they really outdid themselves this time. 20 pages. Their Q2 2024 earnings report is, it's something else.
Yeah, you weren't kidding when you said deep dive.
But hey, that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
To break it all down, find those nuggets of, those interesting tidbits, the stuff that makes you sound smart at your next meeting.
And this isn't your grandma's phone company anymore. We should say that right off the bat. Telus is so much more than just, phone plans these days.
Right. I mean, healthcare, agriculture, they're even in the global customer service game now.
Exactly. It's pretty wild. But speaking of wild, can we talk about these customer additions? 332,000 new customers? That's like, I don't even know, a small city just joined Telus this quarter.
It's a Telus town now.
Right. But, and here's the but, they're also kind of dialing back expectations for the rest of the year. So which is it, booming or bracing?
Yeah, what's the deal with that? It seems like they're sending mixed messages. Record customers, but also caution.
Well, think of it like this. They're attracting a ton of new customers, which is great. But keeping that momentum going, especially with the economy being what it is, well, it's tricky.
Okay, makes sense. So, big picture, we're in wait-and-see mode.
Pretty much. But hey, let's zoom in a bit, shall we? Let's talk mobile versus fixed lines, because, everyone loves a good head-to-head.
The classic battle, right. And on the mobile side, 101,000 new phone users. Boom.
Not too shabby at all.
Not shabby at all, except then there's that whole ARPU thing. Average revenue per user is down. So
Right.
they're adding customers, but making less money per customer. Explain it to me like I'm, not an expert.
Okay, so imagine you're trying to win people over. Like sometimes you got to sweeten the deal a bit.
The old loss leader strategy.
Exactly. So Telus is being super competitive with their pricing, especially those unlimited data plans, the Canada-US calling options, the good stuff. Those are attractive to customers, but yeah, they can make that average revenue per user dip a little.
So are they playing the long game here, luring us in with the good deals now, hoping we'll stick around for the price hikes later?
Well, let's just say they're hoping to build some loyalty, but let's switch gears for a sec, because while mobile had its ups and downs, fixed services actually did pretty well this quarter.
Yeah, the home internet and TV bundles, right? Revenue's up there.
Right. Although they did quietly discontinue that Pick TV product, which, if you ask me, speaks volumes.
Ooh, interesting. What are we reading between the lines here?
Well, Pick TV, that was their whole internet-based TV thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, it just couldn't compete with the streaming giants. So by ditching it, they're admitting defeat, but also, adapting.
To how we actually consume entertainment these days.
Exactly. Streaming is king.
So they're all in on the bundles now, hoping that if they package internet, phone, maybe even some home security, we'll be, too lazy to switch?
Sticky is the term they like to use.
Right, sticky. Well, it's a tough market out there, but hey, at least Telus is thinking bigger. Healthcare, agriculture, that's some next level stuff.
No kidding. Their health division, Telus Health, saw a huge jump in their virtual care members this quarter. And the number of, get this, lives covered by their health programs through the roof.
Lives covered, it sounds so dramatic.
Right. But it does make you wonder, are we, witnessing the future of healthcare unfold in real time here?
I mean, maybe. And then there's Telus Agriculture. This is where it gets really sci-fi for me. They're talking about connecting the entire seed-to-store journey with technology.
It's pretty wild when you think about it. Imagine farmers using real-time data to, perfectly time their harvests.
And then we can track our food from the farm to our plates.
Supply chains would be completely transparent.
Okay, now that's a future I can get behind.
Right. Although, to be fair, even with all this innovation, they're not sugarcoating things. This report acknowledges those macroeconomic headwinds everyone keeps talking about.
Yeah, no one is immune to that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got growth, we've got innovation, but then there's this whole Telus digital thing.
Ah, yes. The plot twist.
Right. Their international customer service branch had a bit of a revenue dip, and their CEO is stepping down. It's being framed as a changing of the guard, but come on, what's the real story?
Well, it does seem a little convenient, right? Revenue's down, better get a new CEO. But if you look closer, it's clear they're making a major shift. They're going all in on tech, streamlining things, trying to keep up with those ever-changing customer expectations we talked about.
So less about failure, more about adapting.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that the old ways might not cut it anymore.
And speaking of adapting, can we just take a moment to appreciate Telus's commitment to, well, not being a terrible corporate citizen?
It's refreshing, isn't it?
Seriously, they're investing $130 million in youth programs through their Telus Friendly Future Foundation, and they had 83,000 employees volunteer their time. It's not just about profits, it's about making a difference.
And honestly, it's probably good for business too. People want to support companies that, care about more than just the bottom line.
Right. It's a win-win. Okay, so far, we've got a mixed bag of financial results, some really exciting innovations, and a company that seems to be genuinely trying to do good in the world.
Sounds about right.
But let's not forget, they're facing those same global economic challenges as everyone else.
Yep. No one is immune to that.
So the question is, will all these strategies be enough to keep them ahead of the curve?
That, my friend, is the million-dollar question. And luckily, we have a whole lot more of this deep dive to go. So about Telus staying ahead of the curve. Well, let's just say their financials this quarter kind of paint, it's a bit of a mixed bag, honestly.
Not the ringing endorsement I was hoping for, but hey, we like to keep it real here.
Real it is. So yeah, their overall revenue, it did go up a bit.
And that's good, right.
Good, yes, but not great. Not the kind of growth they were probably aiming for. In fact, they actually had to revise their year-end projections. A bit of a downgrade there.
So those macroeconomic headwinds are starting to blow a little colder, huh? Even with all those new customers.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that, no company is an island.
Especially not in this economy.
Nope, not at all.
Okay, but they are still making money, right? I mean, the report mentioned a pretty significant increase in free cash flow.
Right, free cash flow. That's the good stuff.
It sounds good, but break it down for me. What is it actually?
So imagine all the money Telus makes.
Okay, got it. Big pile of money.
Huge pile. Now, take out all their expenses, paying their people, keeping the network running, investing in, all the things.
So the money that's left over?
That's free cash flow. The money they have to, play with.
Play meaning reward their investors, hopefully.
You know it. More free cash flow usually equals happier investors. And happy investors are more likely to, stick around for the ride. But of course, it's not as simple as just pocketing the cash. They need to reinvest some of it. Keep those growth plans going, manage debt. It's a balancing act for sure.
High-stakes balancing act, especially with all their plans for healthcare and agriculture. But before we jump back to those, I wanted to circle back to something else that really stood out to me. Their commitment to giving back. $130 million to youth programs through the Telus Friendly Future Foundation. That's a real impact.
It is. And you're right to highlight that. It's not just some PR stunt. They're putting serious money behind those initiatives. The Telus Friendly Future Foundation, by the way, they focus on supporting young people across Canada.
Right.
Especially those who, face extra challenges.
That's great to hear. What kind of challenges specifically?
Oh, things like poverty, lack of access to education, mental health issues, that kind of stuff. They provide grants to different organizations doing work in those areas.
So they're actually putting in the effort to address some pretty deep-rooted issues. That's impressive.
Right. And they've been at it for a while now, since 2018, actually. They've already helped millions of kids.
Millions? Wow. Okay, so it's not just talk, it's real action.
Exactly. And it's not just about the money either. They encourage their employees to get involved too.
Yeah.
Remember that whole thing about 83,000 employee volunteers?
Yeah, the Telus Days of Giving. They mentioned that in the report.
Yep. And they actually beat their record for volunteer hours this year. That says a lot, I think.
It does. It shows they're walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly. Okay, so we've covered the good stuff, but this report wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, was it?
Definitely not. There were some, let's call them areas for improvement.
Diplomatically put.
Like that whole Telus digital situation, leadership shakeup, revenue dip, the whole tech pivot. It's a lot to unpack.
Right, their international customer service branch, they definitely took a hit. But to be fair, it seems like they're being proactive about it. Instead of freaking out, they're like, okay, let's try something new.
Hence the new CEO and the big tech push.
Exactly. They're adapting.
Yeah.
Recognizing that the customer service landscape is changing.
Adapting and evolving. Those seem to be recurring themes for Telus this quarter.
For sure. Whether it's, using new technologies to improve their services or finding ways to connect more people through those internet for good and mobility for good programs, they're trying to stay ahead of the game.
It's ambitious, but also, kind of necessary in this day and age, right? You snooze, you lose.
100%. And speaking of staying ahead, we should probably dig a little deeper into that whole technology-centric model they keep talking about, because that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, let's do it. Hit me with the tech talk. All right, so tech-centric. It's a buzzword, sure, but what does it actually mean for Telus, like in the real world?
Well, think of it this way. They're basically trying to bake technology into everything they do.
Everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
How they handle customer service, how they manage their network, even how they come up with new products. It's all about using tech to, like, work smarter, not harder.
Okay, so it's not just about faster internet or fancier phones. This is like a whole philosophy.
Exactly. It's a fundamental shift. And remember, Telus Digital, their international customer service branch. We talked about that whole leadership shakeup. Well, that's a prime example of this tech-centric approach in action.
Right. New CEO, new priorities, all about the tech. But how does this actually affect, like, the average Telus customer? What does it look like on our end?
Okay, picture this. It's like 2 a.m., you're binge-watching your favorite show.
Isn't it always 2 a.m.?
Right. And suddenly, boom, buffering. Your internet's down.
The worst.
The absolute worst. But instead of, dreading the call to customer service, you just open up a chat window and boom,
Yeah.
you're talking to a bot.
A bot, like a robot.
Well, kinda. It's an AI-powered chat bot, so it's super smart. It can troubleshoot the problem, maybe even fix it remotely, all while you're still in your pajamas.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of cool.
Right. Or imagine this. You're a few months into your new phone plan and you realize you're burning through data like crazy.
Happens to the best of us.
Totally. Well, with this whole tech-centric thing, Telus' system, it's tracking all that. It sees your usage patterns, and before you get hit with a massive overage charge, it's like, hey, maybe you need a different plan.
A little digital guardian angel looking out for my wallet.
I like it. But, and maybe this is just me being paranoid, what about the whole, robots taking over the world thing? Are we all going to be talking to bots instead of humans soon?
It's a valid concern, but honestly, I don't think it's about replacing humans entirely. It's more about, like, using tech to make their jobs easier.
So automating the boring stuff, freeing up humans to, actually help with the complicated issues? Exactly. Less time on hold, more time with someone who actually knows what they're doing. Yeah. And that's a win for everyone, right?
Right. Unless those humans start demanding robots pay income tax or something, then we've got a whole other issue.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Baby steps.
Okay, fair enough. But speaking of things that keep me up at night, all this AI, all this data analysis, it's impressive, but also kind of creepy. Like, how's Telus making sure they're not, selling my data to the highest bidder?
$1 million question. And look, data privacy is a big deal. It's something that everyone, not just Telus, needs to be taking seriously.
They do mention it in the report, right? Something about being committed to data security and, ethical AI.
They do. And look, I'm not saying they're perfect, but they seem to be aware of the concerns and they are taking steps to address them.
Okay, that's something. It is an ongoing conversation though, right? This whole data privacy thing isn't going away anytime soon.
Absolutely not. It's something we all need to be thinking about, especially as technology keeps advancing.
True that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Record customer growth, some cautious financial forecasts, those big moves into healthcare and agriculture, and now this whole tech-centric future they're building. If you had to sum up Telus's Q2 report in, one sentence, what would it be?
Telus is transforming. They're not just riding the wave. They're trying to, control the tide. It's ambitious, it's a little risky, but honestly, it's pretty exciting to watch.
I like that controlling the tide. It really sums up that whole proactive, forward-thinking vibe they've got going on.
Right, they're not afraid to make big moves.
Well, there you have it, folks. Another deep dive completed. Telus Q2 2024 demystified. Hopefully you learned a thing or two, maybe even feel inspired to, embrace a little change in your own life. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and as always, dive deep.